Say something for the podcast. Tell the people what you feel.
I'm just jazzed about being on the show, man.
You are listening to The Objective Jerk, where objectiveness is the objective, and I am said jerk. My Twitter account is blocked, or locked, I guess. I violated some Twitter rules and my account got locked. That's crazy. I mean, I guess what I said was kind of mean, but, oh, you know what? Actually, I think my account was locked once before. I don't remember for what though. But so this is saying, so your account is locked. After careful review, we determined your account broke the Twitter rules. Your account is temporarily in read-only mode, which means you can't tweet, retweet, or like content. Most accounts regain full access in a week, but could take longer. So the tweet is, let's see, can I pull it up? It was just a video of a woman that's like 8 months pregnant. She looks huge. She's working at a cell phone place, and it's the CCTV camera, you know, and she's sitting there, and a guy comes in, and she's like, can I help you? You know, and he's got his phone or whatever, and she's like, can I help you? And then he just kind of puts his phone in his pocket and just straight punches her straight in the mouth, and she flies back and lays down on the ground. I'm surprised she wasn't knocked unconscious. And then he goes in there and proceeds to, like, you know, steal money and be a douche. And I just said, that guy is a piece of shit. Needs to be stoned to death. And I guess that's what it was that got me blocked. But it's true, though. But, I mean, it's like, you know, I don't know. If I was talking with somebody and I said, you should be stoned. I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. I don't care. And then I don't get much alerts on Twitter, you know, because I'm a small fry. But I did comment on a video, and then of course, you know, you get alerts for other people talking about the same video. So everybody's talking about it. So I was going to kind of talk about that. It's another excessive force by a police officer thing. So let me see. I was going to try and pull it up. All right, so it's a dash cam, right? And there's some guy walking on the side of the road, wearing a hoodie, got his phone, he had earbuds in, he's got a backpack, and the cop just comes up and says, hey, put your phone away, take off your backpack. And the dude's like, what's going on? You know, and the guy's like, take off your stuff before you're on the ground. He's like telling him, you know, listen before you hit the ground. And then, so he gets him to the car. He puts his cell phone down. He begins to kind of take his backpack. The guy's not really resisting, but he's like, what's it called? Passive resisting or something. So then the cop just takes him and does like a fucking full on, oh, I said F word again, suplex straight on the ground. And then you just hear the guy moan, and like he must have got jacked up. And it's like, yeah, this cop, you know, people need to try and listen. You know what I mean? Like, you get people, or actually four types of people. You got people that are like, that cop should be in jail. And then you got people that's like, hey, if you don't listen, you get messed up. That's how it is. And then you have people that are kind of like, you know, you got the far right, far left, and in the middle, I guess, who are, so for me, I agree that individuals need to just listen to the cops' orders. Everybody's got phones. Everybody's got dash cams. Cops cannot act like they did in the 50s, 60s, 70s. And this is a white dude, too, by the way. I don't know if that matters. But some people think that matters. But it's not like they're going to take you out into the woods and hang you because they're part of the KKK. You know? Just comply, and it'll work itself out. It's annoying. You know, the guy was said like he's on his way to work or something. But I think I said it before. It's just, you know, I had a friend who was out with some other friends. There was like a car full of them, and their car matched the description of a car that did something that warranted a federal stop. or felony stop. So a felony stop, for those that don't know, is cop, he's on the horn, or the I can't think of the word right now, but he's on, the little speaker thing, and you instruct the people to get out. Like, they teach you how to do that. You have your car parked a certain way, you're standing behind the door, you have your gun drawn, and you're giving them orders to get out, so there's nothing. You have them get out, they turn off the car, they put their hands out the window, the driver, he drops the keys. With his right hand, you open the door, and this whole time he gets out, he has hands up, he walks backwards, he goes to his knees, or he lays on the ground, and then you cuff him, and then you go and you start working on everybody else. You know what I mean? There's a procedure. That's I mean, it's probably changed a little bit now, but that's the gist of a felony stop. I hope I was clear. But the thing is, my friend had this happen. They all got out. They all did what they did. They were all handcuffed. They were all checked and ID. And then the cops, they weren't the people. It was the wrong car. The cops apologized. I'm sorry. They were late for their party or whatever. They weren't doing anything. And, he let them on their way. So it's like, they just happened to fit a description of somebody that was dangerous. And they are treated as such. So if you just comply with the police officers, it will be over. Do not protest the officers on the street. Wait to do. If they do something like this guy did, how he got slammed, this cop's getting in trouble. This dude's getting paid. That cop's going to lose his job probably, at least. But the thing is, you don't fight them, even if they're a douchebag cop like this guy. You don't fight them on the street. I'm sorry. It's just, listen, if you just comply and then do whatever, it'll work itself out. Yes, you feel like violated, I guess, to an extent. You're being cuffed and you're not even, you're not a criminal or whatever. But, the police officers aren't cuffing and doing this for the kicks of it. It's safety, man. They're making sure there's safety. They don't know what that person's thinking, what that person's capable of, what that person has done, or what that person is planning on doing. So they have to treat them as such. And then once the individual is secure and they verify who they are, then everybody goes on with their day. Okay? So with that said, this guy should have just, if he would have just, when the guy first said, give me your phone or whatever, put your phone in your pocket, I think is what he said, and then let him take his backpack off, he probably would have took everything in his pocket and he would have cuffed him, and then he would have checked his ID. Okay, this is not the guy. And then they would have proceeded to let him go. So there's that. But this cop clearly has issues. He's got anger issues. He's, and a lot of it is, I've talked about this before. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but, police, I don't know, let's see, try an example. So let's say, have you ever been somewhere, maybe with your family or just by yourself, and you just felt unsafe and you were constantly looking around and you were kind of stressing out and then all that kind of stuff. Your stress levels are up. You're on a heightened sense of awareness. That's how cops are the whole time they're at work. So they have to go from green to yellow to orange to possibly red, depending on the situation. You know what I mean? So they're constantly at a yellow or an orange. You have to be, depending on your, what I guess area, county, city you work in. So they have that stress at work constantly. Every person you interact with, for all you know, may try and kill you. So you have to be ready for that. You have to assume that. But at the same time, you have to be professional. You have to learn to use your words. There was a class that they did, it was called verbal judo. this dude would talk about how, you would just talk your way through stuff instead of going hands on. Use your words, learn how to talk, learn how to be respectful. And this guy right here clearly needed some sort of anger management, and he needed to do some verbal judo training or something. Because he just went from, hey, put this, and then just wham, slammed him. So this cop has lost his job. That county or city or whatever is going to pay that guy some money. That's kind of how it is. But so I was going to read some of the comments. So the guy put the video. He's like, "Where are the protests?" Because he's a white dude. But then this guy says he wasn't complying with simple orders. I don't feel bad. I'm sorry. That's kind of how I am. I mean, I do actually feel bad for the guy because he got slammed hard. But if he would have complied, it wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? So, but this cop, obviously, he needs some readjustment or he needs a different job. But if he would have complied, it wouldn't have happened. And then another guy, the cop had no reasonable suspicion, first off. He actually did. He fit the description of somebody that was trying to break into cars, is what the guy said. But he didn't say it right away. But, the thing is, when you're dealing with somebody, sometimes, like, they're guilty. Like, they're the person, what they did. But you're kind of trying to act like you're not, or you don't know. Like, it's just kind of, dude, we're just, so that they don't run or fight. You know what I mean? So it's like, he doesn't want to say somebody breaking in cars, and he's like, oh shit, somebody saw me, and then he's going to take off. So he's just like, hey, come over here, get over here. Can you do this, do this? But he was a little too aggressive. He was like, if you don't do it, you're going to be on the ground, So the guy did have reasonable suspicion, or there was no reasonable suspicion. He had I can't think of the word right now, but the guy fit the description of somebody. So then it's a second, he didn't clearly explain to the person what was going on. And that, like I said, you don't want to always explain everything until the person is like under control. You know what I mean? Until like maybe you feel safe, or till maybe another officer's there, and then you kind of start, okay, well, the reason I stopped you is because, you fit the description of somebody that's trying to break. So then if he knows, like, oh crap, then he might take off, So they want to, like, if they say to him like 10 feet away, hey, somebody's been breaking into some cars, and all of a sudden the guy takes off running. You know what I mean? You can't do it that way. So this guy, I mean, I understand what he's saying, but he just kind of doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm not going to say his name. He doesn't have a name. He's got a tag or whatever. But anyway, he simply started barking orders and expected unquestioned compliance. Well, yeah, that's kind of how it works, though. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, he could have did it differently. He could have been like, hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but I do need to talk with you, so if you could please just come over here. If you put your phone down, let me just check and make sure you don't have weapons. Talk to him like that, but hey, buddy, I understand, just, that's verbal judo, just kind of, but the guy was just like, do this, you're going to be on the ground if you don't listen. So he's overcompensating. So this guy he's clearly like either anger problems, or he's actually kind of scared. Like he's not completely sure of himself in what he can do, I guess. You know what I mean? So he's overcompensating by barking orders at the guy and stuff like that. And it says he used excessive force and should be fired and potentially charged with assault. I agree with that, but not, I mean, it's, yeah, I can see that. And then another one after him says, you should go out on a few ride-alongs with law enforcement before you make such opinionated comments on a subject matter you're not familiar with. Which, that guy's right. A lot of people say crap about stuff they have no idea about. There was There was a guy, I don't remember what he was. I want to say he was some kind of councilman or city official or something. And he was all defund the police, defund the police. So they had him go through a training camp where he, did a little bit of training with taser and gun and some non-lethal whatever. And then they had him go into rooms and they had scenarios where he had to try and figure out what was going on, de-escalate the situation and figure out if, somebody's going to shoot him or whatever. And it's like, he got killed a bunch of times and he tried to do. So then he was like, dude, okay, I get it now. I get what the police go through. I understand, the things that they have, the choices and decisions that they have to make in split seconds. It's tough, and people have to kind of like understand that. It's almost like they need to take, they want to do all this other, LGBTQ, all this other crap they want to teach in school. It's like, okay, that's cool, but let's have a world religions class, so everybody can learn a little bit about every religion, and let's have, a class where they learn about law enforcement and their day-to-day routines and watch videos and things that happen so they kind of understand maybe a little bit more, All right, so the guy that said, the cop had no reasonable suspicion, he replied to the one that said you should go on a few rides. He says, there's no justification for that power-hungry cop to suplex the guy. I agree with that. He went from 0 to 60 in half a second. I agree with that. So many other ways he could have diffused the situation. Yes. But he was pissed, and the guy wasn't being obsequious and subservient. So anyway, bad cop playing some. See, so he's kind of trying to say like, oh, we got to be like, slaves and be submissive to the cops, but it's like, well, yeah, because that's their job. They're trying to figure out. You got, it's not hard to just comply with them. Put your bag down. Put your hands on the hood. Let them pat you down. Let them check you for weapons. Move the bag away from you, so if there's a weapon in there, he can't check it. You can ask, hey, can I check your bag? No, you can't. Okay, fine. I'm going to put it over here. And then talk with the guy and figure it out. But when people just sit there and immediately just start, why am I being stopped? Why am I being stopped? You need to tell me. And then not, complying, they're making it that much worse. So this was my reply. So I'm doing these in order, by the way. So I said, he did tell him that he matched the description that was put out, thus the detainment. However, I do agree with you. The officer did overreact and needs to have his anger issues resolved or find another job. And then, of course, I put a link for my podcast. So then he's like, to be fair, he waited until 51 seconds into the stop to even explain that much. Yeah, because like I said, if he goes in right away and say, hey, we're looking for somebody breaking into cars, can you come over here? And if that guy was the one breaking the cars, he's going to take off running. A lot of times guilty people, criminals or whatever, they just play it cool. Well, what's up? What's going on? Play stupid, because, they don't know. Maybe the cop is looking for something else. So maybe, they won't figure it out. So then that way, because it's like, okay, if he runs, then he knows he's going to get, arrested for at least, fleeing the cops or whatever. If he stays, it's possible, he might get away with it. So that's why, hey, what's up, man? Can you come over here for a minute? And what's going on? It's like, well, we've got some reports of some people, whatever. Just get him over there and start talking to him, this and that, and then. But yeah, so the guy just immediately just like, get over here, blah 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 blah. So anyway, so then he's like, okay. So he said, he didn't even explain that much. He's like, up until then, the suspect had no idea what was going on, and then at 55 seconds, he suplexed the guy. And the guy says, like, civil rights violations, and there will be a lawsuit due to this bad cop. And then I'm thinking about replying to that again, just saying, like, he's not going to explain everything until he knows the guy is secure and that there's no, no weapons. Everybody's safe. I think, oh no, I can't because my stuff's locked, so I can't reply to nothing. But 12 people reached, and that's the one comment, but I don't have any likes. Whatever. You guys suck. People on Twitter suck. I need to go. That's the thing, I can't get Truth Social. Well, I haven't tried in a while. See, then it's like, oh, so many people like the tweet that I was mentioned in. So it's like they don't like my tweets. Like, I don't care if people like other tweets. I want to know if they like my tweet. I hate getting those notifications. But anyway, so there's that. That's going on. And that's kind of the thing that, people on Twitter, that's what they do. They just go back and forth and bitch about, they share their opinions, but it's like, dude, do you even know what you're talking about, though? But like I said, they're not wrong. The guy overreacted. There's a better way to do it. But who knows? I mean, like maybe, see, that's the thing is like, okay, what was the whole story? What if there was like multiple people, right? Hey, we got a report of 3 individuals and they give out descriptions, right? And then he's hearing on his ears on the radio, he's got another officer that's stopping somebody. What? What's going on? And like his cop is doing the same thing, he's stopping somebody, talking to them, whatever. But, maybe they're a small county. It's just those 2 officers. I mean, a guy did show up, so maybe there's only 3. So it's like, he's got somebody by himself. If you waste too much time, then all of a sudden your buddy's like, oh shit, I need help, officer down, whatever. And then, you know what I mean? So it's like, the guy might have been kind of trying to figure out quickly if this guy was the guy or not, And you got to be safe about it. You can't just, hey, are you, can I get your ID? And then the guy like reaches for his ID and then he gives it to you and then reaches out and get a weapon, So it's like you got to make sure the individual doesn't have a weapon or doesn't have any kind of intent of harming you. You know what I mean? So it's like the guy overreacted. He was pissed off, obviously, because the guy was kind of not. But at the same time, if he just would have complied, it would have been over quickly. Unless the guy was actually the guy and he was guilty of it. But, they would have, checked him out. Because he's walking with a backpack. He's going to work. People are stealing, so it's like they got to check it out. So it's like they would have just, looked in his bag. Maybe they knew what was stolen, so they look in his bag, see if there's anything in there, check his ID for warrants, whatever, this and that, weapons. So if the guy is innocent, it would have just took like 10 minutes. And then, he would have been fine. And it's like, maybe like, hey, can I get a picture of you with me so I can show my boss that I was detained? That's why I'm late. You know what I mean? I don't know. But the cop definitely, he could have handled it way better. They both could have, really. See, that's the thing. It's like everything's put on the cop. People have to realize what the cops go through. Just comply. God, I say it. How many times? How many times? Comply. Just comply. I've said it before. This is not the 50s when cops would just beat the hell out of people with their batons. It's not like that anymore. I mean, people still, that guy got messed up by those cops. But it was recorded though, right? I mean, it was. I wonder what's going on with that actually. I don't know. I guess they're still working on it, but just don't resist, man. Just be polite. Yes, sir. No, sir. This and that. Da, da, da. It sucks, but then everybody's, I mean, he's got his body cam. if he was kind of a dick to you, you can get his badge number and this and that, immediately go to the police station and report it. They would look at his cam, his body cam, you know. It's like everybody's got cell phones. There's dash cams, there's body cams, there's doorbell cams, there's probably silent freaking drones flying all over the place recording everything. You know what I mean? It's become a 1984. My point is, there's no like cop that's like out there murdering people or whatever. Like, you know, back in the day, I don't know, it's just comply, man. I just don't get it. If the cop's a douche, you don't argue and you don't fight in the street. You take it to court. That's the proper way. Comply on scene, on the street. Bitch about it later. You'll save yourself a headache. Unless you want, you know, you're trying to get money in this and all that crap, which is, I think a lot of people do, sadly, but whatever. Yay, yay!